Jeffrey wants to know, Lee, who are you inspired by the most? And they don't specify. They don't specify a literary person, comedian, musician. They just say, who are you inspired by the most? So you can take that question any way you want.
Well, I guess the one I get the most is who comedically, and comedically, that there were a lot of people that were pivotal. Some people can predict, like George Carlin and Bill Hicks, and I often mention like Chris Rock's earlier stuff. I think was pretty interestingly political. I referenced one of Chris Rock's line recently from Bigger and Blacker, where he said they ain't never gonna cure AIDS because the money's in the comeback. The money's not in the cure. So he talks about how curing people isn't good for basically Wall Street. And just recently, a Goldman Sachs analyst put out a note saying, like, advising clients not to invest in cures because cures are bad for their profit. So it shows how prescient and brilliant, some of the earlier Chris Rock was. But, then there's a lot of people, like the people I get nervous, I feel like I get nervous about meeting are usually like, impressive activists or academic minds, or people like Chris Hedges or Cornel West. Or those are very inspiring voices and people. And then there's people that have passed on as well, like Abby Hoffman and Bruce. And writers like Catch-22, Joseph Heller was, I think, pivotal in showing me that you could like make something so dark, like brilliantly satirical. Mark Twain, of course. But yeah, there's a lot of different realms where I take a lot of inspiration, I think.
Yeah, the only time where I met somebody and was just so kind of humbled by being in their presence that I just straight up embarrassed myself was Dick Gregory, and Amy Goodman. The first time I met Amy Goodman. Now I haven't been watching Democracy Now! As much recently, but over the years when I was in college and stuff, I mean, that was my favorite newscast, and a newscast that really opened my eyes to the corruption of the corporate media when I was a lot younger. And man, when I first met her, I was, I pretty much just babbled. And she asked me it was at a conference where I was actually speaking in a room next to her. And she asked me what I did. And I don't remember exactly what I said. I'm pretty sure I just forgot. And I just babbled and said hello a bunch of times. I don't think I remembered. Or I was like too scared to just say comedian because I didn't know how that would sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do.
Just eyes glaze over and she walks away.
Right. I wanted to prevent that. And so I just babbled and said hello. Like,
yes, I met her. Well, I met her a few times, actually. I was on one panel with her, but I think she does brilliant stuff. And unfortunately, Democracy Now! They're still great on so many things, but they've kind of fallen hook, line, and sinker for our take on Syria, the kind of official standpoint of what's happening in Syria. So I don't like that aspect, but in general, they're still doing a lot of important stuff, and they've been covering, the massacre of the Palestinians that's going on right now. So there's still good stuff coming out of there. What was the first one you said? Oh, Dick Gregory. Yeah, he was another one. I got to meet him and open for him on a few shows in New York, and pretty incredible to meet him and talk about combining comedy and activism. He was on the front lines of so many civil rights battles. Actually got shot in one of them, but I believe he said it was friendly fire. But pretty incredible human being, and it's too bad he's gone now.
Oh, absolutely. That's a voice we could really use right now. Yeah, when I met him, I just said it's an honor over and over again. Like I think I said it like 6 times, and like I just kept saying it. And then he signed my vinyl for me, but I didn't even like ask him. I was just like clutching it. Like I was just clutching,
just holding it.
Like I was just like, God, this is my constant. And then he just took it, and then he's like, "Good for you, Ron," and we took a picture.
Yeah, he's fascinating because he got a little conspiratorial in his older age, and some things that I wouldn't say I sign on. However, I would also like to point out that he had legitimately at least 4 of his good friends assassinated. So, he knew the Kennedys well. He called them the Kennedy boys. He was close with Medgar Evers. And he had another. His driver was killed, was like run over, and he believes it might have been a hit rather than just accidental. But whatever the case, it's like when many of your friends he was with John Lennon the night before he was killed. And so when a lot of your friends have been assassinated, you start to go, maybe some shit's fucked up.
Yeah, man. I'd imagine when you get the peek under the hood that guy's had. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, first of all, kind of like you hinted at, you're right to be a little cautious, even to the point of a little paranoia if he crossed that line, because, yeah, that's a peek under the hood that you and I, even at this point, can only just sort of speculate and imagine,
Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.